Okay, so I happen to be over on the polar opposite side of Nashville where Andrew Masters lives. Me and him live an hour, almost an hour apart from each other, and we live on polar opposite sides of Nashville. I just happened to be in his side of town for an appointment. I'm gonna drop by. Let's go hang out with Andrew for a bit.
You want me to sit on your lap?
Would you mind? What's up, bro?
Yeah, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing all right, man. It's good to have you back.
Thank you.
Has it changed since you've been here?
Yes. Yeah, there's more gear in here.
You know, it's funny. We're filming, or they're editing a studio tour I just filmed of this room. And literally, we filmed me giving a walkthrough of everything.
Mm-hmm.
In between filming the walkthrough and filming the B-roll, a bunch of things changed. So the B-roll for the video, all the outboard gears.
None of it matches?
Yeah.
That's
it's
amazing.
Be hilarious, so.
I kind of want to know what your favorite pieces of gear are. Because I feel like me and you are kind of in unique positions where we get to try an astronomical amount of stuff out.
Yep.
And we get to use it for extended periods of time. And so what are some things in this room that like are really standouts to you? I don't care if it's drums or keyboards or microphones or preamps. What are some things that are like, they really tickle your fancy?
The thing that's really exciting to me right now is, my room, the way it acts is everything is ready to be used at, like, instantly.
Everything's patched in all the time.
Yeah, you sit at the drums, and all you do is arm the drum tracks.
Yeah.
You can hear them, it's ready to go. If you're cutting guitars, you just plug in the guitar pedal, and you flip on the amp, and everything's ready to go.
Yeah.
The one thing that doing sessions I would find always was like, shit, hold on a second. Let me get some,
Yes.
Let me get a stand and let's set up some mics. I'm calling that sort of like the accessory station or zone, if you will. So let's say somebody rolls in with an acoustic or a 12-string or some sort of stringed instrument. In this case, it could even be like a cello. They're going to be parked like right here. This is sort of like the anything can happen, and I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Now, to be prepared for it, I have this little guy kind of tucked back here.
Okay.
Now, since this is a small room, I don't like leaving stuff out.
Yep.
This is probably the exception because it just fits so snug where you could sit here and not bump it. You can walk by and not bump it. But, it's just a little short stand with a stereo set of condensers on it.
Nice.
And it's got just enough slack so that somebody can park right here and I can just lower this thing, move it.
Oh, that's cool.
Right where I want. And these Soyuz, these are called 1973s. They sent these to me to try out, and it's kind of a funny thing. I'm sure some people watching this can relate to this, or they can make fun of me for not relating to it. But look at this microphone. It is so small. It's smaller than a soda can.
Yes.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm reluctant, based off how things look, to think, that's probably not that good because it's not big with a big giant tube, right?
How could it sound good? There's no transformers in it. They're not like the size of your fist.
Yeah, and it's also like relatively affordable. Things can get a little hairy with condensers. In that context, I think these are like, don't quote me, check a link somewhere because these
I'll put a link down below.
These are probably $500-$600 is my guess a pop. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But stereo pair on acoustic, on a J45, on a D18, on 12-string, dobro, whatever. These things just sound absolutely beautiful. And everything in here has a dedicated preamp going to a dedicated input. So my template never has to change.
Nice.
Right? So it's like the kick always goes to the same pre's, the snare goes the same pre's, so on and so forth, all the way through the synths to this. So if we do acoustic guitar, I just stereo audio track 23, 24. I know it goes to that pair of preamps over there. And for the most part, it's just ready to go. But this is just like, aside from this cheap stand I'm using, this is the only stand in here that I'm still using that's like a cheap thing. It's an on-stage kind of piece of garbage. But all the other stands are really, really nice.
I guess this video isn't sponsored by OnStage.
No, this is not sponsored by OnStage, but yeah, this is like kind of my favorite thing right now because, you know, obviously acoustic guitars, you know, on the records that we'll do in here, a lot of country-esque stuff. Yep. Works great for that. But also, leave it in that spot. I usually have my percussion right here. Sitting at the computer, grab a tambourine shaker, arm the track.
Oh yeah, like a room
little
action.
stereo tambourine, not too close.
Yep.
You know, just stack a few tracks of shaker,
claps and snaps and stomps
and if a stereo condenser thing is too, you know, modern or whatever, boom. Mono room, dark, fat, you know, ready to go. You got options. They're all again on the same track, so it doesn't take, you know, there's as little friction as possible between jumping between things. And when you're done, just kick it under the chair.
And you're good to go.
And your setup and tear down are done.
Talk to me about preamps. What are your favorite preamps at the moment?
So I did, Scott and I did this. I mean, you got to be a super nerd to watch this video, but it was a preamp.
It was a great video.
Preamp shootout that was APIs, the 3124s, the Warm 73s, the AEA RPQ 2s. I have 2 and 3. In the Trident preamps. Spoiler alert, they all sounded great. But between these 4 different brands, they all had their own flavor, if you will. And there were things about each of them that I really liked. So historically, I would always dogmatically choose to use one preamp on all drum mics. Like whatever the favorite one is, they've all got to be the same. Because I'm like, that's the sound, right?
Right.
I also am a big giant flip-flopper. So after doing that test, I'm like, wow, you know what? Those AEA pre's are undeniable on kick drum, which hearing it come out of my mouth still sounds wrong. Right. Because there's very clean preamps.
Right. Intended for use with like that microphone.
With like, yeah, ribbons.
Super colorful, yeah.
But dude, they just anyway, so now my preamps are mostly, like outboard pre's are mostly on drums, and it's a mix of stuff. So I'll show you just real quick how I've got it broken down. We've got AEAs here, and it's basically kick and rooms. These are the AEA N8s, ribbons on wide rooms. Snare, top and bottom, on the 73s. Overheads on the APIs. Toms are on the Trident, mono overhead. Now this is literally, I'm like, I liked the toms on the Tridents. Yeah. I loved the overheads on the APIs. Right. I loved the kick on that. And I just picked all the favorite stuff, and I'm like, okay, let's just try it. Even though it's all mismatched and kind of weird. Yeah. It's like the greatest thing ever. Yep. Now I will say, as far as what am I using the most of, it's these APIs. Which is also a new change for me. So vocal, bass, overhead, stereo, and mono overhead. This is not accurate. So this is open. This should be open. Okay. Because the acoustics are now here.
On the 73s.
And then the electric guitars are here. So electric guitars, bass, vocal, and drum overheads are all APIs. And then, yeah, snare, kick and room are there. Tom's over here. Nice. So that's like the sauce for preamps. The only other pre's I'm really using are for this little synth station here, and I have all 3 of these summed on this Key Largo mixer. So I've got like a this is like a drum machine that's just like always ready to go, and you can do just all kinds of crazy stuff with.
Nice.
And same thing with this synth. Really good patch right now. All three of these are being summed to a stereo input on the stereo track. So whatever you're recording on, it's synth, and all three of these go to those inputs.
Nice.
And then I also have pedals that I'll swap out depending on what we're doing here. So it's just maximum creative fun, and if you want to hear something, you could just press
Love
it
it.
and hear it.
What's your favorite compressor at the moment? I know it's like asking what your favorite child is, but
Yeah, it's like,
if you had to sell every compressor you own except one,
wow, I still don't know if I have an answer for that, because
how about two?
my wife hates this about me, but she asks me questions like this all the time, and I just always say it depends. Like, compressor for what?
Yeah.
So
what do you find yourself most pumped about at the moment?
I will give you two options. One is, like, if I only had one that was a mono channel, like a single channel compressor to use on anything, it would be this Black 1176, because of just the flexibility with it.
Yep.
And it is my favorite.
It's an OG icon for sure.
Tried and true.
Yep.
And then the next one is this Bus Plus. Now, this is a new toy that I have dreamed of getting. The earlier iteration of the dream was the SSL 30 G384.
Yep. Which is one of the greatest bus compressors of all time.
Yep. And then this is like a few decades of advanced research development since that one. And so there's a lot more features in here. Some of them that go far beyond my intelligence, which is why we have this user manual open right here. Because,
well, let's be honest. I was checking it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What's this button doing?" You're like, "Here's the manual."
Let's see what it does. But I keep this inserted on my mix bus as a hardware insert just 100% of the time, and I use it how I would use a mix bus compressor.
Yeah.
Without any of like the fancy distortion or feedback, feed forward modes or whatever, because it's got the high pass filter on the input.
Yep.
And then you've got a mix, which I keep at 100% anyway, but sometimes it's fun to experiment with the mix. You've got a bunch of ratio options, and then you have this low shelf, high shelf EQ on the compressor. So it's kind of like a one-trick pony, and it sounds like you're cheating. Like when you put it on,
it does sound really, really, really good.
It sounds like you're cheating. So
yes.
I would say that one is being literally used on everything.
Yeah.
And just is like that glue and that final, like, wow, better, worse, better, worse.
Yeah. So what's a compressor that you hate? You don't actually have to answer that. I just have to mention it so I can be like, Andrew Masters hates this compressor in the title.
I'll give you an answer. What compressor do I hate?
It's a man in deep thought right there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, if I were to go into a commercial room that has every compressor,
what's one you would never
What's the
use?
one I'm for sure not going to pick?
Yeah.
Can you give me options? And I'll pick one?
Okay, so you go into a studio.
Okay.
It's got a Fairchild. It's got 1176.
Yep.
Black and blue stripe.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Got an LA2A.
Yep.
Got a 33609.
Okay.
Got the Bus Plus.
Yep.
Got the Audioscape 260 VU.
Fantastic.
Got let's see. What
Don't
else?
use gear I have.
I know.
I have all the best stuff I love. So.
Got a CL1B.
Okay.
Got an LCA2B.
Here's what I'll do. I'll rank them.
Okay.
People are gonna love this. At the bottom of the list is gonna be the Fairchild.
The Fairchild.
At the very bottom of the list is going to be.
The Fairchild is the most dollars per dB of compression that you could possibly buy. because you're spending many tens of thousands of dollars, and their sweet spot is 2 dB of gain reduction.
Amen.
Magic on overheads, but
not for me.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to even take the time to patch it in. And I'd say right above that, and this is like very much in that it depends category, would be 33609, because it depends on which era 33609 it is. Because the newer ones are not the same as the
Are you
older
getting
ones.
all old man, get off my porch? Back in my day.
I had the newer one at some point, and I don't have it anymore. So
Yes.
that's usually an indicator of like, am I using this or not?
Yes.
And if I'm not using it, I just don't keep it.
Fair. As you should.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise the go-tos for me are just not surprising whatsoever.
Yeah.
1176. I have the Worms version of the CL1B, which is fantastic for me on vocals. Some Pultecs Pultec is probably my favorite compressor. EQP 1A. And then Bus Plus for
You
sure.
mean your favorite EQ?
No, it's a compressor. You've got your... People don't understand this about EQP 1A. Oh, we'll go into it in another video, but it is an EQ, but it's actually a compressor. That's kind of how I would rank it, I think.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cole is sweating right now.
I'm trying to hold the camera still while I'm laughing. That's going to be the title of this video. Andrew thinks a Pultec is a compressor.
The EQP is my most hated compressor. Love it as an EQ.
What's the newest pieces of gear?
The newest...
Like stuff you've gotten in the past month-ish.
I think the newest things are these EQs from Undertown.
Yep. Which have actually had my attention for a while.
These are the UTA 500 EQs or EQ 500, something like that.
Yeah.
Very, very original name. Really super crazy. I mean, all Undertone stuff, as like the user experience goes, there's a lot of things to turn and switch. A lot of flexibility, we'll say it like that. But the cool thing about these is Eric, who is, the founder of the company and engineer sort of hero of mine, they've worked on these to basically be able to replicate the EQ curve of all of our favorite EQs.
Oh.
Like 31105s, Pultecs, old vintage Neves.
Okay.
Literally where he's in the video showing the EQ curve on an analyzer and then recreating it using these EQs.
Well, that's fascinating.
And I haven't really gotten to dive too much into them because I needed to move things around so I can actually reach them while I listen.
Right.
I had all my 500 stuff over there and just moved it over here, so I'm really excited I'm going to make a video kind of going through it, but I want to, really put some time into it. It's funny, like when we get gear for videos, it's like you want to make the video, but at the same time, it's like, if you jump into making the video,
Yep.
and then you put the video out and then you keep using it, you're like, oh.
It does this thing.
I didn't know that it,
Yep.
you're just so excited to get to it or whatever.
Well, and, some of this stuff takes a long time to wrap your head around. Like I did the SSL Fusion not too long ago.
Yeah.
And in the comments, there were like 3 things that I left out of that video that it does. And I didn't even know that it did that.
Yep.
And I had been using it for 2 months already.
So those, and they sent me a stereo pair, so I love things in twos. I think all engineers do. So I could try that on some different like drum buses and stuff like that. And
I'll put links down below for as much of that stuff as I can.
see you guys.
Roast. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Love going over there. Love hanging out with Andrew. I'll do my best to put links down below for every single piece of gear that we talked about. Just about all those links go to Sweetwater. So anytime you guys need any piece of musical gear, you can jump on any one of my videos, click on any one of the links in the description, and purchase anything that you need that you were gonna buy anyway. It costs you nothing extra, and when you do that, it really helps the channel out and helps me keep making videos just like this one. So thank you guys for clicking on those links anytime you need to purchase anything, and thank you Sweetwater for sponsoring this video. That wraps it up. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.